welcome back, or if this is your first time, welcome. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share all those good things. Come hang out with us on the regular. Today I wanted to talk about Shakespeare at Winedale. It's a little bit different from my usual book stuff and my usual cat stuff, but the Shakespeare at Winedale channel, which I will link below, has been putting out daily snippets of Winedale alumni giving their memories and their feelings about Winedale. And nobody asked me, but the great thing about YouTube is nobody has to ask you. You can just speak out anyway. I honestly love Winedale, and just because watching the snippets fostered a certain amount of joy in me, I wanted to participate vicariously. So that's what I'm doing. On top of answering their 3 questions, though, I'm going to give you a little bit of background about Winedale, because Shakespeare at Winedale is not something everybody is familiar with. So what is Shakespeare at Winedale? Well, in 1970, I'm a hog. Yes, that's her actual name, but you wouldn't make fun of her if you saw her, because insert picture here. Anyway, she was the governor's daughter and a well-known philanthropist, and in 1970 she gave to the University of Texas at Austin a piece of land known as Winedale, and noted that the barn on this piece of land looked a bit like an Elizabethan theater, at which point Dr. James Ayres, we all know him as Doc, agreed to take it on, and Shakespeare at Winedale became a program at the University of Texas. There is a class there that is given every spring called Shakespeare Through Performance. You get a lot of students who take that class as an English credit, thinking they're just going to watch a bunch of Shakespeare movies, and the big trick is actually every spring the Shakespeare Through Performance class performs at Winedale. They learn a Shakespeare play, it changes season to season, and they perform the play. I was part of the 1998 spring class. We did the first quarto of Hamlet, which is also known as the bad quarto. It's a little bit different than the Hamlet everyone knows and loves, a little bit different. I played Carambus, which is the original, or maybe just somebody's bad memory version of Polonius. So anyway, Shakespeare at Winedale went on to become much bigger than just that spring class. They've added summer courses and a Camp Shakespeare for younger students ages like 11 to 17. And it's quite the center for Shakespeare now. It's also a really great historical center. You can go out and visit it. It's beautiful out there, and I highly recommend that you visit it. Try and see some of the performances, especially if you're in that area. That area is not Austin proper. Winedale is near Round Top and Carmine, which is about halfway between Austin and Houston. So it is a bit of a trek, but it's beautiful out that way. They've got some wonderful Airbnb and inn type places to stay, and I recommend it if you happen to be out in the Texas Hill Country. So, with that said, now I'm going to answer the questions that they've been asking the Shakespeare at Winedale alumni on the Shakespeare at Winedale channel. The first question is, what is one word that represents Shakespeare at Winedale? This is really difficult, actually. I actually had to mull this over for a while, but I would say pro-social. It's a little bit of a, I don't know, I'm sounding pretentious maybe, but for someone like me who's autistic and shy, Winedale fostered a level of community and bonds that I was not accustomed to. And it kind of forced me to be social and pro-social in a good way. So I do think that it's a word that accurately describes Winedale and the community and the kind of result of Winedale. The second question is a favorite Winedale memory. I have So many wonderful memories of Winedale. I don't know if I can pick just one favorite. I remember playing guitar and singing late into the night, including dancing on the dining tables to I Will Survive at one point. I remember having long, deep conversations with my fellow actors there's a little porch area, a little kind of porch room that we would sit in. I was having a conversation with someone one night in there, and another person walked in, went, "Oh, you're having a moment," and left. And I was like, are we having a moment? I thought we were just talking, but it was lovely. I remember standing in the circle. I remember singing the Winedale parting song. One of probably my favorite memories, though, is, of course, after that first big performance, you walk out and you're kind of feeling dazed after the whole experience, but people were walking up to me and saying thank you. And that just was the best feeling in the world. So it definitely is something I carry with me and will always carry with me. Sorry, I'm looking down at the questions. I've written them down. How has Shakespeare at Winedale impacted your life? And I am sorry, by the way, if you can hear, again, whatever the neighbors are doing. Been doing it for over a week now. There's no escaping the noise. But how has Shakespeare at Winedale impacted your life? Immensely. I went on to get my master's in writing and publishing at Emerson College in Boston. And then after working in publishing and having my kids and leaving publishing, I had the opportunity to teach at what was known as College for Kids, which was a summer program at the local community college. And so I developed a Shakespeare course that basically mirrored Winedale. I was teaching 9 to 14-year-olds, and I would pick a play each summer, and my students would learn and perform that play. Now, I always gave my students the option to perform it as Shakespeare wrote it or to rewrite it in some way and tell the story in their own words or in their own way. And we got some really great, we had a lot of fun with the text and with performing and filming, and everybody got a DVD at the end of it. And the kids would also perform some of the scenes at the College for Kids, like, wrap up after a couple weeks. We only had like 2 weeks per play, so it was hard work. But yeah, it definitely, that definitely was me carrying Winedale on into a new venue. And then when I moved to my current town, I met with the local Shakespeare company, and they asked me about my experience teaching kids, and they developed a program to go into the schools, the second grade classrooms, and do a little bit of Midsummer Night's Dream with those kids to get them, acquainted with Shakespeare. Now, I'm kind of sad I was never asked to be part of that, although they have since said, hey, if you ever want to come teach with us in the second grade classrooms, you can. I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet, but maybe someday. Maybe someday I will. I've got 3 teenagers and they keep me busy enough at the moment. But yeah, so those are all ways that Winedale has impacted me. Not only that, but one of the manuscripts I wrote a few years ago was called Hamlet, and it's a modern contemporary version of Hamlet with a female, lead. It didn't get published, sadly. I started putting it on Kindle Vella, but I haven't continued posting it. If you're curious, you can go look it up. I'm currently rewriting it, and hopefully I will just publish the rewrite when it's done. But again, all Shakespeare all the time. My Twitter handle is Shakespeare, but with an 8. I'll put it in the description if you want to find me on Twitter. Anyway, that's all about Shakespeare at Winedale. My experience, again, I highly recommend it. If you can visit, if you can participate in any way, even in the camp or the summer programs, it's an experience unlike any other, and it was formative and transformative, I would say.